Week 3 in CIT 93 JavaScript, and this is actually from this current semester that you're all taking, so spring 2024. And I wanted to say a few words about some really great conversation, and I very much appreciated as that happened in week 2 around the code reviews. And I also just wanted to cover some things that I felt could have been clearer in this week. So I replied to everyone who posted a question, so please go back and check those out. My general advice is for making the code review a good experience, and this is just true in general. Like if you don't understand the code you're writing, get help, because understanding it, I would never in a code review ask you about something we haven't covered and probably covered multiple times. So having a good grasp on the fundamentals is really what will help you do well on the code review. Now, so I anything we will have covered up until that point is subject for me to ask you. But just know I'm going to lean heavier into things we've really covered several times or you've written in several different ways. So the more you're understanding the code you're writing, the better that experience will be. And I thought today, one of the things, and I think it was Nathaniel who asked this about would I release the rest of the content, and the answer is no, but I'm totally willing to work ahead whenever possible, and also give you a preview for part of what definitely will be covered, which is when you write code, okay? And that starts to happen in week 9, okay? So, and I'm going to look at the requirements just to show you that I hesitate. I could copy and paste these requirements into the discussion, but my concern, and this happened last semester, students thought that's what I was assigning them to do, and it wasn't. So I'm like, how do I include this without you thinking, So anyway, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back around because there's a couple of things I want to mention that are important for us to cover. So if I look at the calendar, right, so if I pull the calendar for our course over and I look, like today is the beginning of week 2, again I'm releasing week 3. So if I move forward, right, and then I look at how the weeks flow, so through February into March, so this is, let me come back here, we can see the week. So this is week 8. So in week 9 is the first time you're actually going to create, I'm going to give you some requirements. So let's just go ahead and take a look at them so you can see this, right? So you'll, again, don't go do this yet, right? I'm just giving you the preview. Like, I give you some logistical things here, but you're going to have to create global variables. And this is something we just talked about last week, which is for you, which is const and let. Those are what you need to be using where appropriate, right? And your decision. So in this case, what you're going to start doing in week 9, and you'll do it all the way through until the end of the semester, is we'll break down this app development into specific chunks. So you'll be writing the same app, but I'll give you new requirements each week. By the way, these requirements that I will give you are basically what we're doing for the carbon footprint. So it's not as if we haven't seen this before, which is why I hesitate giving it to you, because it might be overwhelming. You can tell me if that's true or not, right? So in this case, you're just going to come up with a decision that you make on a very, so I say daily, but more a common decision for you, something you're interested in, right? You'll write a little about it, and then you'll write conditionals and comparisons in order to reflect that decision-making process, right? And so in this case, right, what we're heading into this week, writing conditionals using, I don't talk about privileges, but these are variables here, right, using comparison operators, right? So, these are things that you're going to be learning this week, which is why I wouldn't assign this yet, because I want you to have some time writing that code. But I think it's, again, I like to answer as many questions as possible, so I'm willing to show you that. right? And then I have a short video going over it. Again, I'm willing to share it. You tell me in the replies, right, how much of this do you want to see at this point? Because again, we break it down week by week. We kind of follow along with what you're building, but we don't start building until week 9 because I want you to focus on learning the code. Okay? Okay, so I know that can be so I guess back to the calendar, right? So this window for doing the code review opens in week 10, okay? So here in week 10, right, I'll have already by the end of this week, I think, will have given you a list of sessions times for you to sign up. It's a 30-minute session. You only have to do one. The window opens here. You have until the end of the semester to complete it. The longer you wait, the more content that is possible to be covered in your code review, which is why I said before, students who are new to coding might want to do this sooner. Students that have a little more experience might want to do it later. But really, you get to choose. In this case, you only have to do one for the whole semester. Okay? All right. So really what I'm looking for in the code reviews is how well you understand the code you're writing, which is why using AI, generative chat GPT or Bard to help you understand code is awesome. Having it write code for you instead of you writing it won't help you in a code review, because the idea in a code review is to see how well you understand something. And so anyway, that's just what I wanted to clarify. And again, you're still willing, and I'm still open in this reply for you to ask any other questions that you may have. Okay? And by the way, the whole thing about bringing it back around now to week 3 as we come in here, the whole thing about the discussions that we have, right? So we have a code along and a code along. And by the way, in these code alongs are more coding challenges. As a matter of fact, in the second one, there's more coding challenges in there. And those challenges are great checkpoints for you to see how well you're understanding the code. And if for some reason, and I believe I say this in there, if you don't know the answer, tell me what you tried. I'm willing to give you some points for telling me what you tried, because the idea here is for you to have the challenge, attempt the challenge, and then see the answer, right? And if you don't, and I'll just tell you, if you don't give yourself enough time to think about it and to let your mind kind of ruminate on it, if you go right to the answer, it won't help you A, learn code, and B, do well in the code review. Right? Because that process of here's the challenge, attempt to write the code, because even if the code's wrong, attempting to write the code is a great step. Okay, back to here. So the thing I was going to say about the code discussions, because in the code alongs, you're doing that, and I'm looking at your commit history and how well you did on the challenges and did you complete the work. On the discussions, the idea there is you attempt code, right? See if you can do the challenge. Now this week it's even a little more of a challenge because I'm going to have you write functions, but I give you so many different. I actually give you a good example of writing functions, and again, this is attempt it, right? Don't, because it's so easy in the class like this, because in this case in our code discussions, all of our code is out in the public. And this is true in general on the web. It's easy to go look at somebody else's code versus spending the time really allowing yourself to learn to code. So for those of you that are nervous, totally understandable. I was nervous the first time I had a code review. Best way to do well on a code review or not feel nervous is A, understand the code you're writing, reach out for help, me or Zach, which I'm going to talk about. Actually, that leads to Zach's discussion. I talked to Zach the other day, and Zach's hours for this semester are Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I've given you the link. This is also listed in the syllabus in case you ever need it, right? And so that is there. And if you go to this link and you scroll down, you can see all the classes Zach is tutoring, which is a lot. And at the very bottom is a link to Zoom. And I believe, unless he clarifies for me, that during those times he is available via Zoom. Let's see. Does it say online? Yeah, 28 not available here, but our class 93 is. Okay. So in this case, Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 5 p.m., that is available for you to check out with him. Now, by the way, if he's with somebody, right, then he may not be able to jump onto Zoom. He'll do it as soon as he gets a chance. But also, that's the other thing is coming to see me, right? My office hours are listed just above that, not above there, but in the syllabus as well. So check out that. Please come talk to me. The other thing I tell students, the reason you might want to come talk to me, and you saw this in the feedback, is that if you're a little more comfortable with me, then these code reviews can be less intimidating. And I really work on being not intimidating, but you may not know that if you don't come in and chat with me beforehand. Now, I don't make you do that. That's just something I'm suggesting you do. Okay, last thing I'll end with here is I did actually preview step one. I didn't preview step two. So let me ask this, right? So now that I've shown you at least, at a high, at a quick level, and you could have stopped the video and looked at that content for one. Do you want to see the requirements for two? Because again, we do step one, we do step two, we do step three. So week 9, week 10, week 11. I think we end at week 16 or 17, but we build, right? We build that whole thing, that app up from first the logic, the comparison. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all that. And by the way, the other thing is in next week, if you want to see the carbon footprint as we at least see the output that we end up creating, and I think Jay in this week, in week 2, he was already kind of coding some of this, which, my response, and I don't think Jay would mind me saying this, is like part of the reason I say kind of think about, that students in here are trying to understand code by reading code. Sometimes, and I don't know, I'm open to conversation here, is that sometimes if you move ahead, it's onus upon you to teach somebody who might be looking at code and not understand. And he did a good job in his comments, but I would say I'd want you to go a little further if you want to go above and beyond. Again, I like it, but sometimes, part of learning how to code is learning how to read code. It's a really important part. Okay, I've gone on long enough, so you can reply any comments, any questions, or I did ask you a question in here, so you could also reply to that. Do you remember what it was? Let's see if you remember. Have a great week, and I'll hopefully talk to some of you soon.